to my grandma. And so there's a little backstory to how I got into this. These are all needle felted. So needle felting is using wool and a needle that has barbs in it. And the more you poke that needle into the wool, it starts to compress. And the more you do it, you can start to sculpt that wool into whatever you want. And I had no idea what needle felting was. It wasn't until 6 years ago when I had my son Jordan, and I was a stay-at-home mom, and I was looking for a creative outlet, something I could do with Jordan around, and I acquired a lot of different crafting supplies, art supplies, but nothing was really like that thing, something I really enjoyed. And then at the same time, my brother had gifted me several large bags of wool, alpaca wool. He had alpacas. So I was trying to figure out something to do with that. I Googled different things, came up with wet felting, so I tried that. That was not the thing. I did not enjoy it, which now, knowing needle felting, I think I probably would enjoy wet felting, but I haven't tried it again yet. So I went back and searched online some more, and I came across needle felting. I ordered the needle felting kit, but before it arrived, sorry, I might cry, my grandma passed away. She, the year prior, was diagnosed with cancer, and so, she passed away at that time, and we hopped in the car, drove back to Eugene, that's where I'm from, and we went to the funeral, spent time with family. And while we were there, my grandpa, he gifted me with leather gloves that my grandma had. My grandma, she wore those leather gloves all the time. It was, her winter, fall staple. If we went out somewhere, she wore her leather gloves. So when he gave it to me, it was a keepsake. It was a keepsake. I was just planning on putting it on a shelf somewhere. And we got back to Halfway, and my needle felting kit had arrived. And so I pulled up the stuff and I started to try it, and I really enjoyed it. It was like, from the get-go, I was like, wow, I can really do a lot with this. But the one thing I didn't know about needle felting is when you needle felt, you're using a needle and you're gonna poke yourself, especially if you don't know what you're doing. And so I needed leather gloves or something to protect my finger, and I had leather gloves. So as soon as I put on that leather glove, it immediately felt like it was a gift from my grandma. And so since then, I've been needle felting, like almost every day I needle felt. It's one of my favorite things to do. And so the birds are because of my grandma. She loved birds. She wasn't a birder at all. She was just someone, she would go out, she fed the birds every day. And they loved her too. It was like they knew when she was coming. They would talk to each other. And so this is giving it back to her. Any questions? Yes.
How do you make the feathers?
So there's several, like on this owl, there's several different ways I did it. So these ones on the front, the fluff, is just tied together pretty much. It's twisted in wire and then flattened out. And then the ones on the back, I use floral wire, and it's water and glue that holds them together.
How do you color it?
So some of it's just with the wool. I just use different types of wool. And then like on this one, I did do airbrushing on parts of it, but mainly it's just the wool together.
Acrylics? Paints?
So, like the claws and the beaks. And then around like the eyes on this one, there is some paint on it, but that's about it.
So like the red-winged blackbird over there,
that's all wool.
all wool, red wool?
All red wool on that.
Wow.
Where do you get your wool from?
Several different places. There's my favorite one is called Serafina. She's based on the East Coast, and then there's another one in Texas. But I also try and hunt around and find other people to get it from too. But it's really hard to find like the quality wool that will do what I want it to do, and the colors that I want.
What is there a particular kind of wool that you use? Is it sheep wool, llama, or?
Mainly sheep. It's like a merino wool.
is the beak
Uh-huh.
and the feet. What do you do? I mean, like the beak and the hair almost looks like it's paper mache.
So the feet mainly are made out of an air dry clay. Air dry clay.
Okay.
Yeah. The feet, so like the claws are the air dry clay too, and then a lot of the feet are this product that I get called cold wax,
Yeah.
and then I use that and I coat the wool in it, and then I wrap it with that. Behind, I think the same question. Okay.
So the framework of the birds, that's all wire,
Yeah, it's all wire.
and then the feathers are incorporated into the wire with, like you say, glue
Well, so the base, so there's a wire armature, and then after that, it's all wool that fills it out,
okay.
and then needle felted.
So the longer feathers, how did you do? Same idea, like on right here. You know,
Like
that are
these
long.
ones, yeah, so
Yeah.
that is all made with the floor wire holding it together, and then
So the feathers are actually felted wool?
it's pretty much felted wool. It's like each one is wool that I lay out, and I add a floor wire, pretty much sandwich it in between floor wire, and then I add a water and glue mixture, and flatten it out, and cut them out.
How long would it take you to make like the owl?
So I really don't know. This is one of my, I just don't know. Because I work in between, being a mom and doing my everyday. So it's like I come back to it. But it's a couple weeks off and on working at it. Certain things go quicker than others. All this front, that was a ridiculous amount of time. And this was a new idea I had. I wanted to make it look extra fluffy. So I didn't know what I was getting into, but I like the effect, so I will probably do it to myself again.
So, in terms of time again, when did you get that first felting kit?
That
How
was
long ago?
6 years ago.
6 years ago.
That guy right there is my time.
So what were the first things that you made with
The
felting?
very first thing was an owl, about yay big, that was just an oval with black eyes, and I think we still have it laying around. I gave it to him. So mainly everything I did was about that big, and it was just playing around for a long time, not really knowing what I was doing. And then I slowly progressed.
Where do you store all these?
I have a studio that my husband built, and so they were all in there for the most part. And then they've been at others. Some of the stuff's been at other galleries, hanging out until this show. And then I brought it all down.